Hey, good morning. The sun is up and the tide is out. And Tidepool Tim is headed down to collect some sea life. Little story about this tide pool. Maybe 20 years ago, this pool was totally full of sugar kelp. And it's a little depression between this big ledge and the rocky shore. And I don't know what happened, but one idea is that the sugar kelp likes to grow on horse mussels. And I think perhaps the green crabs wiped out the horse mussels. Okay, here's a spent horse mussel. So the sugar kelp seaweed, that laminaria, no longer had a place to form a holdfast and from which to grow, but it's really kind of sad. I love this. You couldn't see the water at all, just pure kelp plants. But the environment is definitely changing. It could be a variety of things. Wow, this is exciting. The tide today has dropped 3 feet lower than the normal low. Clusters. I love these things. We saw them as live rock, and it's hard to believe, but that's an algae that sequesters or grabs the calcium out of the seawater and forms these layers and grows into these little fruiting bodies that remind me of little broccoli clusters. Look at them all. And the lower you go, the more there are. Look at that. Grab a whole handful. Oh, here's some limpets on this rock. Let's flip this over and see if there's anything hiding in here. Oh wow, how about it? Beautiful sea beach. I haven't seen one of those in a while. See if we push on and see if it'll squirt. Nope. Attach there. Rock back over. You should be able to find some little fishes. The trick is to find a rock that has a little cavern underneath it. Flip it over. Let's see what you will see. Nope, nothing but some snail worms. There. Oh, howdy, look at this. The northern sea star. That's a big one. Oh, look at those 2 feet. What do you think, Poppy? Here's a fuzzy little find. It's a small Jonah crab, but look at the fuzz. Never noticed them as being so fuzzy. It was under this rock right here. Got some little sea cucumbers, some urchins, some barnacle nudibranchs, northern sea star, sea squirts. Here's a nice big chitin. Yeah, a whole variety of life. Look at the litho clusters here. Oh, this poor little scallop got eaten. A crab or somebody had it for dinner. I want to take that shell with me. Another scallop. Another scallop. Probably a big fat starfish. Sucked the juice right out of it. Oh, and look here. There is a big fat juicy sea star. Did you eat that little scallop? Star's not talking. Look at the 2 feet going on that star. Wow. Here's a sea scallop, along with a couple of slipper shell limpets on that rock. Right in there is a little hairy hermit from that periwinkle shell. I think I got crap on the lens. I do have crap on the lens. I'm going to show you this sea scallop. It's open and filter feeding. You see the little tentacles sticking out all the way around. Wow. It's a fine specimen, I'd say. These little litho clusters are live rocks. I don't know if you can see, they can only grow so far up on the beach because when the tide goes out, they can't be out of the water very long, or they dry out, and when they dry out, they die. So they're sort of from the average low tide to the super low tide mark, and then a fair amount of the subtidally covering the bottom. When there's storms, because of their round nature, they can get tumbled and blown further up. The reason we call this live rock is because of this very cavernous fruiting structure. These little clumps of encrusting algae form a habitat, a little microcosm where tiny worms, sea urchins, clams, mussels, sea squirts can live within that structure. So each one of these little clusters you see on the beach ends up being a place, a habitat for small developing organisms from any of the major phyla. So it serves double duty. It's kind of like the canopy in the rainforest, serving as a place for the monkeys and the lilies and all of the bird life. So here we have a few nice specimens we've collected and rinsed out, and these will go to one of our customers. What we got here? Say ah! This little scallop is open wide, left high and dry. And then his little brother is over here. Hi. Wow. This is the lowest draining tide I have seen in many, many months. I mean, this part of the seafloor is always underwater, and right here there's a ton of current. So even if you did want to dive here, you'd get swept away. See this bright brown kelp that's here, these little clusters? This is sea colander kelp in the genus Agarum cribosum. This is what the locals call shotgun kelp, and you can see why. The frond has these little holes in it, and if you hold it up to the light, it looks like someone shot it with a shotgun, doesn't it? That is a favorite food of the old green sea urchin, and they love to annihilate that kelp. There's quite a bit of it over this way. You can see the urchins have all covered themselves up with little rocks and stones so that the seagulls hopefully don't pluck them out and drop them on a rock. So much to see, and only a short little window here that the tide will be low before it starts to flow back in. Oh boy, look at this. Nice brittle star. And also a scale worm, and also a little periwinkle. Good morning, brittle star. The stars like to hide under a rock at low tide and wait for the water to flow back in. This guy's on the move. Oh, it's putting one tentacle down into the water and being like, hey, I think it's wet over here. Let's head this way. What do you got, Poppy? Wow, look at all the limpets on the rocks. These guys are on the sunny side, sunbathing. Look at the sea colander kelp. There's something about the way the water eddies here that must bring a lot of nutrients in the seawater, and as it's circling around, these kelp plants are absorbing those nutrients, using the sun to photosynthesize and growing like wildfire. It's nice to see. A while back, a few years ago, there was very little shotgun kelp. Oh, there's a pretty sea star. Well, that's a long leggy one. Looking for its next victim. He's like, shall I eat a scallop? I'm tired of scallops. Maybe a whelk snail? Horse mussel? Oh, there's a horse mussel. They're always on the prowl. Another 6 weeks, 8 weeks, the sea stars will all spawn out and release their gametes. Start another generation. There we are. Check out this.
360 degrees of the ocean floor. And Poppy and I enjoying the morning sun
And seeing what we can find. See how the bottom, all of the rocks are covered with this bright pink encrusting algae. Once again, that same genus, Lithothamnium. so weird. It's such a weird organism. Wow, look at the urchins. A carpet of green sea urchins. Some big ones too. Curious, this is not a lot of feed over here. Back to the truck we go.